That being said, let's talk about one of the capstones to our nonverbal segment, and that's called rapport wars, right? So we talked about in Killer Influence, we have 3 different types of rapport, right? We talked about classical rapport, which is the quintessential matching and mirroring, pacing and leading taught in NLP. And we said that while it's good, it's not where we want to live. We use it a little bit differently. The place we like to operate from is what we call heart coherence or kinesthetic rapport, which if you ever see me write it on the board, it'll always be a K with a circle around it. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K. If you know that reference, you are fucking old like me, okay? Right? But that's often how I designate it, okay? But kinesthetic rapport is where we have that heart-based coherence. We know the Bluetooths are synchronized and information is flowing back and forth. And this is another reason, again, why we need to have state control before rapport. Because rapport connection is a two-way street. Information is going to flow from that person to you and from you to that person. You played with that yesterday when you combined your state control and your polarity drills, and all of a sudden they're feeling what you're generating, right? That only gets stronger. And also the range at which you can do it gets progressively wider. In fact, when you hit the state management section, we're going to show you specific techniques for expanding that out, right? The next piece is about the natural entrainment process that happens when people are having a conversation, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, let me finish the loop on the third type of rapport, which is vibing. Vibing you played with a little bit yesterday when you went out and did your group drills and you came in and you matched the energy level of the group. Now, the way you build on that is by telling stories and by the way you dress and the behaviors that you interact with. Those things, you come in with that higher energy level, you have a state that you're emanating, you're getting rapport with the rapport leader. Now, by telling stories and interacting with that person's values, you start to elevate your status in their world. Okay? That's because we're going into language next. That'll be kind of like the next level, the next layer that you put onto the vibing drills. So what's going to happen in this first drill? I thought about doing it in reverse, but I figured now we'll keep this standard one. You are going to get into groups of 3. Actually, let me have 3 chairs. Just 3 empty chairs. Chairs? Yeah, just 3 empty chairs. There's one here too. So there's going to be an A, a B, and a C. Thank you, Moss. Just stand right there for a minute. And A and B are going to sit right across from each other. Now, when we get into our module on proxemic influence, I almost never recommend this configuration unless you can sit, depending on your intention, either below, at, or above eye level. Okay? Because your neurology will code a person as a subordinate and equal or superior depending on where the eye level is. Okay? So, but in this case, we want to be able to see exactly what our partner is doing. So, in this case, A is going to be the person exerting influence. B is going to also be trying to exert influence. And here's the secret. You are going to pick a topic that is extremely polarizing. Gun control, no gun control. Pro-life, not pro-life. I don't really care what it is, I'm just giving you examples. And you are going to use all of your skills to try to convince the other person to your way of thinking while matching and mirroring in real time their body. But your agenda, the parameter is you are not allowed to give 1 iota on your position. You cannot move a single molecule towards compromise. And you must maintain disagreement through the entire dialogue. Now, the other thing is you must keep moving. In other words, you can't just hold your position, and you have to keep switching. right? And try to maintain disagreement while convincing the other person to your side. And the handlers are going to come around, and if you're unlucky enough to have someone like Seth or Moss or Robert watching you, they will call you on your bullshit the moment, because your body will start to find all kinds of ways to cheat. Because the natural state of humans is to seek connection and entrainment. Your molecules are all vibrating. Vibrating elements seek to entrain with other vibrating elements. If your atoms and your molecules are vibrating, guess what your organs are doing? If your organs are doing that, guess what your brain is doing? If your brain is doing it, guess what your thoughts and intentions are doing? You see that the universe is moving us because of the dynamics of physics towards connection and entrainment. And it's all nonverbal. So it's going to be a fun exercise for you to see just what happens when you attempt to maintain your position. Now, the meta person here, if they're not Moss or Robert or Seth or whatever, or even Tracy, they gotta be hardcore. Like the moment you sense any form of compromise or give in their position, start over. Get it? It's fun. This can get, now again, the body's going to try and find all kinds of ways to cheat.
Is all nonverbal?
No, there's going to be a verbal dialogue going on in which you're attempting to win this person over to your side, but their job is to adamantly, zealously maintain disagreement while actively matching everything you're doing with your body.
We're both trying to match each other.
Yep. You're going to physically match while verbally and cognitively mismatching.
What's the point of this?
You'll find out. You'll find out, yes.
How long do you want them to go before they switch? And
I think if we do an average of 3 minutes.
per seating,
Yeah.
and then so person A, then person A becomes person B becomes person C, rotate. Once you've all gone once in each position, get a new group.
Now the other thing is, if you're the observer, if people are not actively changing their positions to follow one another, you got to call them on that too. Right? You got to keep them active. All right? And then you'll find out what happens really, really quick.
There's a tendency for people to try to sit still.
Yeah, they
Be normal. Like the point is to be normal. Like it's very normal to talk with our hands and move around. Like the whole point is to act normally while doing something that's not normal to you and experimenting and finding out what happens, and it's going to raise your awareness through the frickin' roof.
All right. How much time, Seth, do you estimate we would need for this to get everybody to get their 3x3 reps in?
3 minutes on the side.
45 minutes?
Yeah, 45.
All right. Grab your groups of 3, chair up. Handlers, start your engines. Tracy, do you want to handle? You want to be a handler for this? Does anybody else who's had this before want to walk around and keep people honest? And I recommend you work with people who aren't close friends.